I didn't expect to start over at 51. If you asked me, I would have looked like this at 51. If you asked me a few years ago, I would have thought that at this stage of my life, probably would have an answer. I thought that certain things would have settled by now. I thought that I'd feel more secure. I thought that things would have worked out differently, but life had its own plan. And sometimes those changes aren't a result of one big event. Sometimes they're a series of things that slowly push you toward a decision that you never thought you had to make. Today, I'm just going to talk about what led me to my burnout and why I'm starting over at 51 currently when I recorded this video. I've learned some things about being single in midlife, why your 50s might actually be the perfect time to start again, because maybe you're starting over too. And maybe you didn't choose it either. But here we are. One thing I realized is that for a long time, I was reacting to life instead of building it. I was reacting to bills, reacting to problems, reacting to disappointment, reacting to situations that weren't working. And when you're constantly reacting, you're just surviving. You're not building, you're not creating, you're not intentionally moving toward the future you want. And I was settling for just breaking even, just making it through the day. And I think a lot of women find themselves in that situation at 50. Sometimes you may have been taking care of someone else for years and you woke up one day and decide you've been surviving so long that you stopped dreaming. That's where I found myself. So what led me to my burnout and how I finally decided to make the leap. Now for me, burnout didn't happen at night. In fact, I found myself changing my life first in my 30s, then in my 40s, and now in my 50s. And it didn't happen overnight. It was working long hours, trying to keep everything together, taking care of responsibility, taking care of myself when I was sick. Okay. Trying to push through, knowing that, listen, if I don't pay my bills, who's going to pay them? Trying to grow a YouTube, and yes, I do have a second YouTube channel. Trying to improve my finances, trying to solve one problem after another, and eventually realized that I wasn't living, I was just managing. I would literally break even, and that's the difference. I was just managing them. And I started asking myself a difficult question. What if I stopped waiting for the perfect circumstances and start creating my future or my present life a different way? That's why I created this channel, because I believe that there's other people starting their life over. You may be in your 40s. You may even be in your 50s like me. And the perfect way to start over again is not to do it alone. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that identity has come before income. For many years, I defined myself on what job I had, what titles I had, what were my responsibilities, what were my achievement. But when those things are gone, then what? What happens when the job changes? What happens when the relationship changes? Because I used to be a married woman. I went from being married to divorce. The kids grow up. I'm a mother of three now grown adults. My role changes. What if my identity was tied to those things and then all of a sudden you lose yourself? That was me. That was me and my burnout. I have to learn, and I'm not even going to hold you. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm still learning day by day who I am and how to live a life where grace, peace, and aging is on one field playing. So how am I navigating this life now is the question. So if you go ahead and subscribe to my channel, you'll hear the rest of the story. But for right now, I'm single in my midlife. And for a long time after my divorce, I did not want to get married again. I kept telling myself, this is just temporary. I'm not going to settle for anything else. But honestly, I reached a stage where I don't even know if marriage is in the picture. But right now, I'm focusing on me. And what I do know is something gotta give. Y'all heard of that movie? Something gotta give. Something got to give. The season got to change, and it starts with me. Because who am I becoming in the next chapter is not going to be something that I was in the past. Another reason why I created this second channel is in this way, me posting, it makes me be accountable for my changes. And it allows me to have somewhat of a diary of my experience, the things I've changed. And if you have any tips, please share them down below in the comments. If you've experienced different life changes, whether it be during decades, an event, someone recently, some two people really shared. One of them is 57 and they're graduating with the MPA. Congratulations. And another shared that they're starting over after 20 years in a relationship, in a marriage. And that can be hard. Now, I wasn't married for 20 years, but I was in a relationship with that person for a very long time. So I do understand the pain, the hurt, the ups and downs, and the change after a marriage been ended. And I'm doing this while I work two jobs and while I figure things out. I'm going to share some things that I learned and what the results were after I test the field. And maybe if I'm going to keep the thing going. I'm over 50, so one thing I did start incorporating was exercise. I know my doctor's always talking about how is your weight journey? And I know I could do it because I've done it before. I went from being over 350 pounds to being 206 pounds, and then life started changing, and here I am. The last time I checked, I was 290 pounds headed toward 300, and I'm starting over again. I'm being real with you. So what I started doing was, of course, I started back my vitamins, and this isn't sponsored. I'm just going to show you the vitamin pack. Started taking my multivitamins, and these are for women 50 plus. I did check the label because one thing I learned is that if you're 50 plus and you still have a menstruation, a period, you want to make sure that you're getting iron because you're still on your cycle. But if you're not on your cycle, you can have something with low iron or no iron in it. It's okay. Another thing, because I work 60 hours plus when it comes to exercise, I talked it over to my doctor. And you always want to seek your doctor's advice. Okay, I'm not a trained professional. This is just, I'm sharing what I do. Is I started exercising 3 days a week with chair exercises because I have neck, back, shoulder, and knee pain. And doing chair exercises allows me to work those muscles without straining myself. And my doctor suggested that I increase them at least by 1 to 2 minutes every week. And that's what I'm doing. So, y'all, welcome to this journey of starting over after 50. Don't forget, if you want to hear the rest of the story or what's going on, make sure you like and subscribe and join in this journey with me. Okay, let's do this thing together. We don't have to be alone.